people's health, mental health, in so many aspects that, you know, the triggers. Yes, Melissa, the triggers are so high right now, and I think that, you know, people really need to realize that the one thing that we have, that we control, that nobody can take away from us unless you let them,
right,
is your peace of mind. That's the one thing we have. That's the one thing that is not controlled by anybody.
Yeah, like I totally agree. Like I think it's like, you know, you have to have a sense of self to guide you through anything in life, but like especially like, you know, family and just like trauma with growing up, because that bleeds into your you know, your career. Like you absolutely have to have some sort of healing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's like anything. If your mind, I mean, I know from my own personal, because people always, like, you know, they look at my career and they always say, "Oh, D, you're so successful, or you're so lucky," or any of that bullshit. And I'm just like,
right.
One, luck ain't had shit to do with it.
It doesn't.
I earned it. Second, it wasn't like it happened overnight. And to me, I don't ever look at my life as being successful. What I do say to people is that my life is progressful. Like, success to me is something that you have when you're done, when you have finished the journey. You've completed every bucket list that's on that checklist, and you're like, okay, I'm good. And then you can able to give it back tenfold to somebody to say, hey, you know what? This is what I went through. This is my story. And I think everyone has, you know, their story. But I think people, when you have trauma and you come from, you know, pain, everything is mental. It's a mental game. If you don't heal your mental, the rest of you, and I know that just from myself of going through. Wes, what's up, man? I know if you go through like the situations that I've gone through in my life, and I'm sure you've gone through your own, that it's like if your mind's not right, everything else just seems lost.
Yeah.
And
it's like a fractal. You know what I'm saying? It's literally like everything else, it's like a wave reverberates throughout your life. If your mind and your physical isn't right, nothing else in your life is. Truthfully.
No. And that's why I tell people, number one, but you also, everything in life is a choice. You have a choice to stay down and let it destroy you, or you can do what I did. And for me, it was motivation. It was motivated fuel to be like, you know what? I like sometimes being the underdog. I like sometimes having my back up against the wall. I like being underestimated by people, because I was underestimated my whole life. The 26 years I've been in show business, you know, I have.
Yeah, you're like the OG. Like, you literally, like, we were supposed to work together almost a decade ago.
Yep.
Like, legitimately.
And you and this is the thing, and this is why for me, like I say to you, like. Yeah. You only get, and especially with COVID, people need to realize that you only get one life. Right. One. And before COVID, everyone was going at this fast pace, this movement. And it's almost like the whole world was a social media feed, you know, and the constant scrolling. And it's just like how people treat each other. They don't really connect with people anymore. They scroll through the lives, because it's like, think about it. How many people could have 1 million followers on social media? 1 million. But I ask people all the time, the people that have those millions of followers, how many of those millions of followers would come running to your aid if you were in real trouble? None. Almost none. You maybe get one if you're lucky. And to me, it's like people are just like when they look at the government. in this situation. They're constantly thinking that someone's coming to save them. Nobody's coming to save them. The only person that you can save is yourself, because you come into this world alone, you leave it alone. So everything in the middle is what matters. What you do at the time and how you want to be remembered. And that's why I tell people, number one, is that, like, if you're not, and I've said this to you, like, you have so much potential, and you've had this, and as I said, yes, we should have been collaborating years ago.
Yeah.
Because you've had this sort of stop and go